What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is my review for the 2024 film, I'm Still Here. So I'm Still Here is a film that I first heard about, I believe, in the beginning of December 2024. I remember scrolling through the AMC Theater app, and I came across the poster for this film. And when I came across the poster, I was immediately intrigued by the look and the design of the poster. Then I decided to actually read the premise, and the premise sounded even more intriguing. For those of you who don't know, the premise is this. A mother is forced to reinvent herself when her family's life is put in danger during a military dictatorship in Brazil of 1971. This is a good segue for me to talk about international cinema. I love international cinema. I think that it is something that can be quite powerful. I love films such as Old Boy, The Handmaiden, The Wailing. I love South Korean cinema. But I also love something like Pan's Labyrinth, Y Tu Mamá También, Incendies. I think international cinema is great. However, I have to be honest with you guys. Brazil is a country that I haven't seen too many films from. Other than, of course, City of God, which I own clearly on Blu-ray. I think it's a great film. One of the best films of the early 2000s. It's a really, really well-crafted film. But I believe this is the only film I've seen from Brazil. So if you have recommendations, of films from Brazil, put them in the comment section down below. But as it stands, I was intrigued to see this film that had gained a lot of buzz and that made a huge splash at the Oscars. I mean, getting 3 Oscar nominations, one of them for Best Picture, that's a big deal. Like, I still remember when they were announcing the nominees for Best Picture, and this was announced, I said, okay, this is the real deal. And I have to be honest with you, it is so nice when a film begins and you immediately know that you're in the hands of an auteur. And that was the case with this film. Immediately, I knew it. Because the film, right away, I could tell it was shot on film, which is something that doesn't happen that often. Many films decide to shoot digitally because it's easier and it's cheaper, whatever. But when you shoot on film, it's telling audiences that you are treating this with the utmost respect and delicacy. And also, on top of that, it's not only that it's the fact that it's shot on 35 millimeter and that, clearly it's delicate and everything. It's the fact that it looks as if it came out during the time period that it's set in, which is the early 1970s. It's very gritty looking. This film stock that they use is clearly trying to emulate the early 1970s film stocks. It's also the lighting, with how they are, lighting everything, also feels very early 1970s-esque. The camera work, going back and forth between handheld camera work and, still tripod kind of photography is something that it's a balancing act, but it works really well. And that's something that a lot of 1970s films also utilized. So there's a clear sense of immersion that this filmmaker wants. He wants us to feel as if we're in the early 1970s, and I did. But it's also thanks to the production design, which feels very lived in. It feels like we are with a family, and we're just a fly on the wall witnessing the everyday life of this family. It also helps that the acting is great all across. Of course, Fernando Torres is the best part about it, but the husband, Selton Almelo, I hope I pronounced that correctly, he's also great. The chemistry between them is palpable. They feel like, a mom and a dad. And the children are also really good. I think all the performances there are really good. They feel as if they are family. And I think the drama that ensues by the end of the first act is palpable. And I was very much so engaged to find out what was going to happen, because I didn't know that this was based on a true story. I didn't. So I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I genuinely speaking did not know. And it wasn't until the end that I figured out, with what was happening by the last 10 minutes. But even still, the journey was something that I'm very much so glad that I took, because it was emotionally engaging. But the last 10 minutes was what really made me feel emotionally devastated in the best of ways. The fact that a photo, that's all I'm going to say, the fact that a photo can garner so much emotion from someone is something that I really, really liked. And this film was able to garner that from me. So I mentioned the acting, I mentioned the filmmaking. One thing I didn't talk about the filmmaking, though, is the sound design. So I love film scores. I think that film scores can be really powerful, and I think that this film does have a couple of moments, specifically towards the third act, where there is score that's utilized. But for the most part, the sound design is bare bones. What you hear is the ambience of, the sound that takes place in Brazil. Stuff like that is awesome. But at the same time, there really is a sense of we want to be as realistic as possible with the sound design as well, not just visually. And I also appreciated that. Also, I just want to say this. If you pay attention to the Oscars and you are someone that tries to watch all the nominees, this is definitely a film that you should check out because it is 100% worth your time. And if you are also someone that likes dramas, history, this is the film for you because thematically, it's a very rich film. And it's not only just a rich film, it's also a film that you feel as if you learned history. And that's something I also really liked. I like it when I'm watching a film and I feel as if that I learned things. And I will say this though, and this is important for me personally to, be honest with you guys about. I will say the second act, the critic in me understood what the second act was going for and how important it was. But then the entertainment, individual inside me, the person that, looks at rewatchability, looked at the second act and said, this second act is something that kind of held the film back for me a little bit. The first act and the third act, I think, are great. I think they are powerful. But that second act, I understood what they were going for, but it was something that I personally wasn't 100% engaged by, if I'm being, honest with you guys. But it's something that could change over time. I mean, I'm the same person that when I first saw Incendies 8 years ago, I was the person that, thought it was just solid. Now I think it's a masterpiece. So that could change. It could be one of those things where I rewatch this film down the line and my rating goes up, and that I no longer think the second act kind of dragged a little bit. But who knows? Only time will tell. But as it stands, I liked this film. I thought it was quite good. I think that it is quietly powerful, and that it is emotionally engaging. And it's a film that you should definitely check out. Especially, like I said, if you watch the Oscars, this is a film to be on the lookout for. It could win International Film. It could also win Best Actress, even though I'm going to be rooting for Demi Moore. But it's definitely a film that you should, check out. And that's why I would definitely recommend I'm Still Here and give it a... But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts. Spoiler free, of course, on I'm Still Here. Let me know your thoughts. Did you like this film? Did you not? What are your thoughts on the family drama? What are your thoughts on the history of this film? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, like I said, I really just want to emphasize this. I really do love how organic this film feels. It's really, really good in that regard. So definitely a film to check out. Please do so if you haven't done so already. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscription, notification bell, follow me down on Patreon, Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.